And I just had to say, I hope anyone selling covered calls and, trying to stack up the position, I just love when that strategy stops working. I really do. Ken Griffin just launched a cyber attack on us.
They were like, what the hell's going on here? They got him. Let's fucking go.
Dude, I got brain rot, though, from all this negativity on X. I feel like this past week was so bad. If your financial strategy is based around tinfoil, you're going to get burned.
It's that part of the cycle where everyone starts, blaming RC for all of their poor financial decisions.
Like, if you're holding shares, it's one thing, fine. But if you're playing weeklies on tinfoil, that's not Ryan Cohen's fault.
I fucking YOLO.
Oh, everyone hates Ryan Cohen now, and it's like, no, they don't.
I got some really nasty DMs. I got called Tatarded.
That's a new one.
Whatever. It only makes me stronger.
They closed out those fails right. Anyone telling you that should not be trusted, period.
Roughly the same number of fails on both GME and GMEU. They kept touching all week long.
Well, obviously we have GMEU in the ballpark now. We have XRT, which has always been there. But clearly someone is struggling, and now it's spilling over into GameStop.
Like, watch how manipulated we are. We'll be the only company in the entire market to announce that we're buying Bitcoin and drop. His best defense against shorts is to stockpile cash.
Half measures aren't going to do shit.
I think the only route to survive is to go long.
It is the only idiosyncratic risk. Thanks, everyone, for checking out the show. I'm Sean Fitzy.
I'm Paulie.
And I'm ReesePolitics.
And this is The Echo Chamber. It's the 4th of July week, and not a lot happened. We got 3.5 trading days and ended exactly where we started.
Dude, Fitzy, you should also say something when you did the intro and you're like, not much is going on. You should totally say there's something going on, man, or something. Because I feel like we had a great show and there was so much to say.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So hold on.
I'm not saying be
no.
untruthful, just that like,
So there's not a lot to happen.
It's an interesting time.
There's not a lot to happen, but a whole lot happened.
But
like,
yeah.
Right.
We're keeping the faith or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Almost nothing happened on the chart, but like it was actually an eventful week.
Yeah. All right.
FTDs.
Yeah, that's the shit.
Yeah, if you believe the story on the chart, nothing happened.
Yeah, true. Like we're in a lull TA wise, but data wise, we're looking interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe I'll just. How's it going, guys?
Pretty good.
Good. Happy to be back with you guys. Wanted a quick shout you out on the 10K downloads. You guys both deserve it. And also want to say I miss Chucky, but know that he's a big shot now and too big for us. So
yeah.
That's how it goes.
That is how it goes. Thank you for that. And we didn't talk about that last week at all, Paulie, but we got 10,000 downloads when Aaron's show was on. That got us over the 10,000 mark. So awesome job. Yeah, it's so cool. I appreciate it.
You had to mention Aaron as part of that. Now he's going to try to take all the credit for it.
Yeah, he already had.
No, he was part of that success, as all of our guests have, and it's been a lot of fun to be a part of that. So thank you, Reese, for joining us again, and for also being our first guest. Back when we were nobody. I still think we kind of are, but
no, you guys have always been somebody, and it's a pleasure. I know it was kind of a boring week chart wise, but there's a lot to get to, I'm sure. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna yeah, not much with the chart, but there's other stuff to get into. And there's always stuff to talk about when it comes to GameStop. Yeah, this is Reese's second show with us. I went back and listened. It was the end of February. Times were, we were kind of at a downtime on the chart back then as well, but it was a fun show. I was talking to Polly about it. We were still pretty early on. I think we've maybe learned how to handle a little bit more stuff when it comes to the show itself. But yeah, it's kind of interesting going back and listening to those old shows, especially like the first one, Polly. yeah, we like the stock. It's getting some downloads lately. I think when people find the show, they go there first. So I'm glad I remastered it with a different version. Anyways, it was.
We didn't even have a bond offering back then, by the way. Like
right?
We are in new waters now, big time.
Oh yeah,
a lot has changed, just all around.
We were trying to predict on whether or not Bitcoin was real or not back then, like whether or not that was going to happen. So yeah, a lot has changed since the end of February. So, Polly, how's your week been?
Pretty good. So I had to kind of think about that, short week trading wise, but also a little bit of a short week at work. And as you know, I've been trying to get a little bit of work done on my motorcycle that's almost as old as I am. And I finally moved it today for the first time in almost a year under its own power, which was nice. And I kind of rode it around the farm a little bit, and like it's not like done at this point, but like I made enough progress on it in the last couple of days to where like I'm like kind of in that testing phase on all the electronics and everything that I've done, and I have a couple more parts arriving tomorrow just to kind of put the finishing touches on a few things. So I'm kind of excited about that. It's been a lot of learning experiences, just kind of taking it all apart, figuring out how all of the parts come together on this particular bike model, and getting into the weeds on just all of the wiring rat's nest that was under there and cleaning all that up. So it's been a fun project, and I was going to put the amplifier in the trunk when it was all said and done, but earlier today my wife and I were looking at it, and I think we've found a more elegant solution to actually mount it in one of the saddlebags instead. So,
oh yeah,
and I think it's actually going to be easier to do it this way, and it'll leave room. It'll leave room to put helmets in the trunk still. So, I think it's going to end up being a better solution.
Yeah, I don't know if you listened last week, Reese, but Polly's got Battle Robot called it a parade bike. What kind of bike is it?
Yeah, it's a 1988 Goldwing, and a parade float is a pretty accurate description of that class of bicycle of motorcycle.
Yeah, I'd agree. I looked it up. It's pretty badass though. But I think you posted some pictures in the Discord too of the work you're doing. It's pretty sweet, dude. That's cool. You got a whole little speaker set up. I like the music you had playing. It was a whole vibe you had going in that garage there. It looks nice.
Yeah, and I finally moved it out of that barn because I was using my neighbor's barn to kind of store and work on it for the last like 9 months or so. But like it mostly sat like through the winter because I wasn't working on it out there. But then I kind of moved it into my garage today. So yeah, that was good. So just so I can kind of put the finishing touches on it, and then decide whether I'm going to actually start driving it around myself or sell it like I thought I was going to when I started all this.
Yeah, dude. Oh, we're redoing this so I can sell it, honey. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's really what I want to do, but we'll see if I can get what I want out of it.
Nice. Well, that's cool, dude. That's good. That's a nice one. I just worked. That's all I seem to do. I had Monday and Tuesday off, so I think I'm sliding back into that like rotation at work, and that's my favorite. I like having like Monday off to start the week out. Usually those are the one of the most hype days of the week, so I'm kind of getting on that rotation. But yeah, no, holidays aren't no fun on my end of things. We did my neighbors did blow a lot of shit up though, like a lot. I almost started a fight. Almost caught another neighbor's like yard on fire. It was America at its best over here. All right, cool. Well, good. Reese, how are you? How have you been? It's been a little bit, but how are you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm holding up. My YouTube algo actually flipped recently, Paulie, and you might enjoy this. I'm now getting recommended Will It Start content. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this. Dude, it's addicting as heck to watch. And so despite not being like mechanical at all, I've been like getting super into that.
That's
And then
great.
stock wise, man, it was such a boring week. And I was like the first week in like a year where I haven't been watching the 1 minute chart like every day, every second of every day.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah, I
like it was
noticed.
kind of refreshing because it was a freaking. I looked at the end of the week, it was a 3% up and down range, and that is like just toxic. So I'm glad to be moving on with the short week and then getting back into like these full trading weeks because I'm flat out addicted, man. So
Oh yeah, yeah, we all are. It was a good week to kind of, I don't know, lay low when it comes to all this. I knew it heading into this weekend that it was just going to be kind of a shitty week to be out there on X and Twitter.
dude, I
Um,
got brain rot though from all this negativity on X. I feel like this past week was so bad with
yeah,
like, oh, everyone hates Ryan Cohen now, and it's like, no, they don't, and yeah, it just was crazy. So I kind of just like, I took it a little low key this week. I didn't want to get into that.
yeah. No,
That's fair.
it is fair. I was saying in the Discord, like, you could sense it coming. It started on like Tuesday or Wednesday, where, I think my post was it's that part of the quarter, because it's that part of the cycle. Actually, it's that part of the cycle where everyone starts, blaming RC for all of their poor financial decisions, and that's what we saw. And it was multiple accounts. It almost feels coordinated. I know it's not with some of these accounts because I do know who some of these accounts are, or at least I know they've been around for a little while, and whatever. I don't want to get into who's who and who's what, but it's pretty typical, to be honest. And I don't know, like, I don't even understand the point of that myself. Like, if I'm taking to X to announce that if RC doesn't do something, I'm out. Like, I don't understand the point of any of that. So
It's just like
Right.
why the timing of it's weird though. Like a shortened trading week, nothing's going on pretty much in the entire market besides like a few random tickers running. And then SPY hitting all-time highs, okay, or close to it, whatever.
yeah,
But for GameStop, it's like we're just coming out of the second bond offering. This one was bigger and they did a upsize on it to even make it bigger.
yeah,
And we just had 2 trading weeks roughly to digest that. And in those 2 trading weeks, other than the arbitrage players buying and selling calls ad nauseum, there was really nothing to commentate on from like a leadership perspective of the company, at least in my opinion. I don't even know why we would do that now. Like if you told me in September on the next earnings and it was there was no guidance or no nothing. Okay, fine. I see the timing at least. But this came like out of the woodwork.
yeah. We're up almost 10% since that bottom too. So yeah, SPY all time high. That's usually you start seeing the market rip and GameStop not. That's kind of a good. I feel people feel like that's a good entry or whatever. To kind of start the engines of the complaining or do something, or I don't know. I blocked so many people on Wednesday. I got some really nasty DMs. I got called tatarded, not retarded, tatarded.
That's a new one.
That is a new one, and I kind of like it. So yeah,
Do we know if that was a typo or if it's like a special slur?
yeah. I didn't look it up. I should have looked it up.
I'm also confused as to like why are you being looped into that?
I don't know.
Like did you have like a banger post defending RC or like were you just
No,
chopping it up with these people.
Well, I'm always chopping it up a little bit.
I know. I've seen you a couple times. It's like, let's not lie here. I've
Yeah.
seen you get into a few spats.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always kind of like in it a little bit, but no, I mean, a lot of these came on a Bitcoin post where I said, I think Bitcoin was over 110 or something, and then just it's like a flood of weirdness started coming in, and then I don't know, it's all weird, and then I think it leads me to the same thing as I think it's really not a whole bunch of accounts, it's a small amount of accounts that are just kind of like switching between accounts and talking shit. So whatever, it only makes me stronger. I just laid low this week. I'm barely on Twitter too right now. So yeah, we can probably move on to the week that was. I started out the show. It was 3.5 days. I fucking hate half days. Holiday weeks, I don't like it. Basically anytime the market's closed when it should be open, I'm not really a big fan of. And it's usually because the weeks around them usually end up, we have problems. Like if it's a holiday week on an OPEX week, it's pretty much a bad sign for the OPEC settlement week and really the rest of the month. There's all kinds of bullshit that happens when we have half days and holidays in the background that we don't know about. So yeah, who knows what that means for the rest of this month? But
I'm not going to throw hype dates or anything out there because I never do that and I don't give financial advice. I want to make that clear too.
Yeah.
Abundantly clear. None of us do. But coming out of FINRA deferral weeks is usually interesting.
Okay.
And I mean, when I say usually interesting, I mean, let me be clear. There might be a more likely scenario in which you see someone finally take a quarter off the table or a can kick is, partially not kicked, like something like that. I'm not saying MOAS tomorrow, even though we'll probably say that line occasionally throughout the show tonight, but it could be interesting. That's usually when you see something, just from my observations the last year and change.
Okay. So, and that's this coming week coming up.
And I'm not saying it's happening. I'm just saying that
no, of course not. But go ahead.
In my opinion, be a high likelihood. And then secondly, like all the TA people, I mean, the chart's a mess now with the bond offerings, but if you think about it, like the cat ears that all the TA people love to beat the chest on, and I agree, it kind of looks like that too, but that's something maybe, would be a higher likelihood this week versus July 18 when freaking market makers would get absolutely smoked with 500,000 calls out there. You know what I mean? So that's the way I look at it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I mean shit. So like in terms of the chart, and we'll get into Poly because I think we got that golden cross on the weekly. Did we get that on Tuesday, Poly?
Well, we sort of did, sort of didn't. Like they kept touching all week long, and
yeah,
right, but they never officially actually crossed. So,
and aren't they both sloping down too? Like that's I haven't been beating that one because I just feel like we need a little bit more. Like I could see like a downward cross, upward cross type scenario off that. I'd prefer if they were sloping up, honestly.
It would be a lot more bullish if they were both pointing upward.
Yeah.
So I'm looking back at this week. So Monday was a good day. Monday was the day that we started out, and I think we got all that fail information. And I don't know, we just started moving Monday. I know this because I was posting memes about not wanting to buy weeklies, and I did a little bit. We got it top though, 24.50. So we broke into that gap, the earnings high of 24.32. Not earnings high, sorry, the bond offering. I don't want to say high, but it's where the gap was starting before last week. But we got into it a little bit at 24.50. So now that gap runs from 24.50 to 28.42, and then so that's a $4 gap basically. And then within that, we have another gap at $25 and another one at 2804. Those were created on the way up, and it's like gap inception. So like, yeah, there's nothing really to I think take out of this week too much volume wise. Was not a lot. We ended up like literally exactly, I think, where we started. We traded 30 million, on 3.5 days. It's not shit, but it was a nothing day. They ran us a little bit on Monday and then made a big old doji wick for the rest of the week.
I mean, the fail data was significant though. And I think I saw a lot of people dismissing that as, oh, it's the arbitrage traders. And of course, they shorted the stock. It's like, yeah, we get that. But you didn't see, go back a month, 2 months ago when Ryan Cohen did the first bond offering. You didn't see 1.5 million fails after that. So clearly something's different, Pauly, and the level of fails, 1.5 million, is super significant because that hasn't been anywhere. There's nowhere close to that since 2022. And so obviously we have GMEU in the ballpark now. We have XRT, which has always been there. But clearly, to me, and this is just my read on the situation, someone is struggling to pay to contain this thing, and now it's spilling over into GameStop itself, which is super, super significant.
Yeah, and what I found interesting about those FTDs was that on the same day, you had roughly the same number of fails on both GME and GMEU. It was around 1.5 million on both, wasn't it?
Yeah. And GMEU has like traded significantly less volume that day, right? It was the 12th of June, I think, was the day that the big fails were. Is that right? Let me pull it up.
Yeah, they had 20 million in premium that day, and 1.5, like Pauly said, near identical number fails. And then if you look even
day
further,
of the bond pricing, I think.
Right, the completion, right?
Yeah.
Or the price, right? Either the
it was the day of the pricing window. Yeah.
And if you just look at the short interest too from GMEU starting on the following day, which is June 13th, they have like 70 to 80% of the entire float shorted. So clearly this is not like, I think anyone chiming in saying, one, that FTDs are cleared out is just total lunatic.
Yeah.
It's not true. And then two, saying that, oh, the short interest and the FTDs are popping up because the short traders, the arbitrage traders are back in the mix. It's like, that's obviously not true because that was not happening on the first bond offering. Like, you can literally go back 2 months and see for yourselves.
Yeah. And I think I think I said this somewhere else, but I think this is the pressure. We might actually be seeing the pressure that we've all talked about for so long. Oh, time and pressure. We say that all the time, but I think with the cash flow rising, I think we might actually start seeing this pressure with the shorts not being able to push it down below that. We had a higher low this time, even though it was a much larger offering, much larger bond. It was a higher low by like nearly $1, I think. Yeah, and it's just holding. These new ETFs that are just popping up are immediately getting fucked with, and immediately going on reg show. XRT is doing crazy shit on Tuesday. It was moving completely different of SPY too. It was. I think when the news of the big bill, the great big bill, I don't whatever the fucking bill
Big
is.
Beautiful Bill.
Big Beautiful Bill. Yeah. When the news of that was coming out, it was like the Russell 2K and XRT was like squeezing. It was crazy. GME did not.
Yeah, IWM popped too finally because they've been failing that thing relentlessly since September 20th. And that's also of interest to me because that's when Roaring Kitty dropped the dog and did something else, I think, September 20th on GameStop that we've yet to find out about. So I think things are in motion. I just think it's taking a long time. And I think that's going back to the frustration with Ryan Cohen. I think people are almost using him as this scapegoat of, hey, why aren't you doing this and that? It's like, You go back one calendar year and look how far it's in a different league now, the company. Like GameStop is entirely different than it was a year ago today.
Oh yeah.
And just on the interest alone that they'll earn off that cash, that's hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Hundreds of millions of dollars. So like I think anyone that's quick to do that is probably because, okay, yes, you have to be patient, but that's the whole market. It took Tesla years, to do anything. And it stinks. Like I don't like waiting either, but if you believe in the turnaround story, you should just sit back and enjoy the fireworks show. You really should.
Yeah, Bad Robot had it last week. There's a lot happening on it. He's like, GameStop right now is going boom, 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 and that's like the truth. Like I think to complain about the company not doing something right now is misplaced for sure, because there is a lot happening. The other thing I like to ask is, what is it you want him to do? Like, what is it? Push the button. I have an idea on what I think the button push could be, an NFT dividend. We heard cool stuff about it being wrapped in Bitcoin. There's all kinds of things that would push the button.
Told a story about a railroad where two people owned over 100% of the company and caused a squeeze, but that was back in the day. If y'all don't, so everyone's been talking about the VW Porsche squeeze. There's other squeezes out there. Another prominent one is this railroad one that Steve is talking about, but it was related. I didn't know it was Vanderbilt. If I recall correctly, it was the Vanderbilts. There were two railroads that went into, I think, Manhattan. I think they went into Manhattan, and at the time they weren't very well used or all that profitable. But they were the only railroads that went into. I think it was Manhattan. Do a Google search. Let me know if I'm wrong. And he noticed that. He started buying up shares on the DL. And what happened was that there was there was a ton of people shorting the stock of one of these railroads. And it was people on the inside. It was like people on the board of directors and people on the city council who knew that they were going to pull the permit for this railroad, right? They knew that they were going to do this. And they were shorting the company, which of course is illegal now, right? You wouldn't be able to do that. But they were doing it at the time. And what happened? They were shorting a shit ton of it, right? And I'm pretty sure it was Vanderbilt was just picking up all the shares, buying the shares, until he owned everything, and he owned so much in that he effectively created an infinity squeeze, and so that he had them dead to rights, where he said, well, I own you now. I mean, they couldn't close the positions, right? And so they would have to pay whatever price he wanted to sell them to, right? That's the infinity squeeze. But the deal was, you give back the permits, make sure that they have them. Well, anyway, they did pull the permits. The stock price collapsed, but as it was collapsing, Vanderbilt was on the side buying up the shares, boom, 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 buying them up. And then when it was revealed he had it, there was nothing they can do because he bought up all that shit, and they couldn't get out. And so the trade-off was that they give him the permit, and then he owned that whole company, and it turned out to be super profitable, right? Because eventually it came around that it was a valuable railroad to own. But there was a second railroad too that was a very similar. Then they figured Vanderbilt was out of money, and so that they attacked that railroad too, that second one. They both started with H's, I recall, and they both started going after that one. And they short the shit, and they figured out Vanderbilt doesn't got any money. But he was like, yo, buy up this one too. Let's go. And he had some of his, some of his friends or whatever. I forget the exact story, but then they started buying up all the shares. Then it was the same shit. He was like, yo, we got this company too. And they were like, what the hell's going on here?
But when these people are out here telling us to push the button and you ask them, they always say some shit like cash dividend. That absolutely... That would do nothing.
Do nothing.
Yeah, no, it really would. So, like, a cash for anything to do anything, it needs to be not tradable for cash by shorts. So, a cash dividend does not meet that criteria immediately. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think people actually have an idea on what do something is. Because if you really just take a step back, it feels like RC is doing what that is. He's building the cash flow from $3 a year ago to $21 now, and we're one more $5 billion bond offering away from a $30 cash floor in a month and a half. That's pretty amazing. So
Yeah, if people think that a cash dividend is a miraculous button that is going to make them rich, then they should probably be selling weekly covered calls on the stock.
I mean, I
Yeah,
think there's a higher chance that Ryan Cohen would offer preferred shares, which
Yes.
would pay a
Yeah.
dividend to those institutions that buy them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Than
And
grant a
and the,
cash dividend for regular shareholders. And I
yeah.
would love to just hold my shares and get a dividend. Sure, like I'm not saying I wouldn't want that. I don't think one, it would be in the company's best interest right now, and two, I just everything that Ryan Cohen has done over the past year has signaled he wants to raise money to protect the company's future. He's okay with collecting interest, and he'll dabble in these side things, which I would say Bitcoin, buying 4,700 Bitcoin is one of them. And if you listen to his interview at the Bitcoin conference, which was really weird, I thought, by the way, like just pre-recorded, who knows when they recorded that thing, whatever, we can get into all that another day. But he said that GameStop has their own strategy and that he wasn't going to really dive too much into that. And I think that's fine. Like at least he's thinking of it. Like if you these I think these people sit back and they're like, oh, he's not doing anything, he's just diluting us. And it's like he's obviously not doing that. He's very shrewd and pointed, and he's doing his job as basically a fiduciary, in which that he's acting in the best interest of the shareholders to raise the cash floor. And there really nothing more needs to be speculated on.
yeah. I think he said for obvious reasons he's not going to share our strategy. I remember that
Right.
line. Yeah, because
Yeah.
like what's his name, the Bitcoin therapist was like, what does that
That
mean?
guy's a total nut job, man. I mean, talk about he's more paper handed than Portnoy was last
Yeah.
year when he bought GME at like $40 and then sold it like 2 minutes later.
Yeah, I
Andrew
was
Tate
like,
did the same thing. Like, oh my gosh, it was so embarrassing. It's like anyone that's been around the block knows that this thing swings, and like if you're buying it like above $40, like you're probably going to hold red for a couple of years,
yeah,
but you'll get out eventually, like if you want to. So I just don't get why it's directed, I guess, directly at Ryan Cohen when, like, I know it sucks. Like any form of dilution, whether it's preferred shares, bond offerings, or just diluting the float, like it does suck to see your account go down heavily. But then
yeah,
a couple weeks later, it's kind of right back to where it was, and the company's a lot in a much more healthy position. So I don't really see the argument other than it sucks short term, and I get that.
yeah. I think. Well, in terms of a lot of the stuff we're seeing in our inboxes on X and all that, in our comments, I think a lot of it's bots. I think a lot of it's bots, and
Yeah.
anyone who doesn't believe that, just go look at any of us on here's comments, and there's at least 2 to 3 bots. Reese is insane. Damn, you get so much engagement sometimes, bro. Like your posts
I
are
think
crazy.
I know it's like, okay, maybe it is more than two people or two bots, but like I think it's also, if you like, I love tinfoil and I consume all of it, even like the dumbest posts on Super Stink, that like are just totally rots you to the core.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of a couple examples. There's just been so many. I think like Super Stonk is dead, by the way. Like there's nothing on there anymore. There's no due diligence. I think Region Formal is the only one doing any decent work left over. Maybe What Can I Make Today too? Shout out to them. But like
that's
it's,
cool.
if you
I
go,
don't spend much time on there at all.
if your
So that's good.
financial strategy is based around tinfoil, which mine has been at one point, but I learned the hard way. You're going to get burned. Like if you're holding shares, it's one thing, fine. But if you're playing weeklies on tin foil, that's not Ryan Cohen's fault. Like I know he likes to delete tweets and this and that, and I love to read into that personally. And why did Roaring Kitty unfollow Ryan Cohen? Another thing I was reading into, but that is not the justification to say, okay, Ryan Cohen's not doing anything. He is. It's just not exactly what you want it to be at this exact moment.
Yeah, he didn't make your weeklies print, right? That's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to, all of it. I promise you. Well, not everyone again. So yeah, I was gonna say it's bots. It is a lot of people that have been around a while. Some folks who have that is now their persona. I'm thinking like of Kylo out there, just all they want to do is complain about Ryan Cohen, and that's their thing now. So we got Malone and whatever's going on with those two tickers out there, and whatever. You don't need to comment on any of that, Reese, but it's just a lot of the comments I'm getting are people.
I mean, I'll say it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's
and I will say, like, I've never been like a Malone apologist or anything like that, but I will say it's interesting that he actually got like an official seat on that board.
Oh yeah, I think.
I mean, that's kind of crazy, honestly. Like I thought a lot of this stuff was kind of smoke and mirrors, and then I saw that, I'm like, oh, interesting. But again, like I'm not a DRS guy. I'll be honest about that. So like I don't think for GameStop necessarily that's the answer, but for whatever this other company, I'm not even going to mention the ticker that he's working with. Maybe that's part of their strategy and that's going to work.
It feels like a lot of shorts, short thesis stuff from GameStop that is making its way over there. It sounds like the CEO of one of these other companies is fighting the shorts, and that's the comments I'm getting is like, do that.
Well,
Ryan
the CEO
Cohen
should buy 9 million shares.
Yeah, exactly.
Where
I
mean, and then you'll see a same settlement cycle that you did in January 2021. I mean, like, okay, and then someone should come in and buy 500,000 options contracts on an out of the money strike too, and then you'll see something crazy.
Yeah, and our company GameStop is a different beast when it comes to it. Is the only idiosyncratic risk to the market, and I mean, if you just watch the damn ticker all day, every day like we do, you'll see the fuckery that happens all the time.
Oh, and if you watch the order book too, my gosh, there are just some days where for whatever reason they can't let it go above a certain number, and it's almost like they have like a junior trader sitting in a chair in a high rise that's literally clicking which order is going lit market and which is going off exchange. It's like embarrassingly obvious.
Yeah. So, and
that's been going on for a while, but like there are days where it's more egregious than other days.
Correct. Yeah. So, half measures aren't going to do shit. Like that's my point, I think, in all of this. So I trust that RC is pushing the right buttons, and I feel like we're actually starting to see pressure as a result of him pushing these buttons. So, Paulie, I've been trying to get to your chart for a little bit though, but you got anything with the chart or anything there, Paulie?
No worries. Yeah, I mean, it was a short week. There's not too much to cover. I think I would like to do a little bit of a video on a chart that I put out earlier this week where there's just kind of some interesting macro trends that I'm noticing. And so like, there isn't necessarily a whole lot to comment on from this week, and we've kind of talked about that. But there are some things just like if you go back and like when I say go back, like I mean like even as far as 2008, there are some interesting things that you can start drawing on your chart that start to inform your view of things that started happening in 2020. And maybe I should just share my screen here because
I mean we can test it out.
Yeah,
might as well see how it works.
Yeah. Riverside will. It says someone else is currently sharing.
Oh, how's that?
I don't know.
we are. We'll see if this makes a show. But we are in our new recording studio for the Echo Chamber podcast. So
for first time we're using this. So.
Yeah. So hopefully it sounds better. No more dropouts and all that good stuff. So, but I don't know if you can share your screen. There should be a way, but
yeah, like I have a button that says share, but then it says someone else is currently sharing. But then obviously no one is. So I don't know if.
It's probably
if
my
there's
fault.
anything that you can do on your end to open that up.
Yeah, sorry, Paulie. I don't know.
That's okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I think I'll probably like record a short video and I'll put it out on X or YouTube or maybe a couple of different things and try to walk through some of my thought processes on some things. But there's basically just some like repeating patterns that I'm noticing, and the way that GameStop has behaved around a couple of things. And so that's going to be volume weighted average prices, or VWAPs. And that's off of significant highs and significant lows. And then also just the trend lines that are formed by significant highs and significant lows. And so GameStop's first like significant all-time high was in 2008. And then it met some resistance on the way down that started to form a trend line. And that was resistance for several years. And you know, that sounds familiar, right? That was a resistance basically until 2012. So that line that was formed, actually when I said 2008, it was actually 2007. It was December 26, 2007 was when that like all-time high resistance trend line was formed. And that was resistance until 2012 when GameStop gapped above it. And then it stayed above it until 2019. And it back tested that line as support for the first time in 7 years. Huh. And then about 2 billion shares worth of volume came in. And these are like split adjusted figures. So, you know, I'm talking about in terms of what appears on the chart now after the split. But about 2 billion shares of volume came in over the next, you know, 100 trading days or so, or 100 days, like 80 trading days or so. And then it came back and back tested that again for the second time. And that was in early April 2020. And that's the date that will stand out to everybody, because that's when it hit that deep low of like 64 cents split adjusted.
And then it started to
yeah. So like it, on that first back test is where it started to make that rounding formation before that deep sweep into that 64 cent low. And then that bull flag formed that basically was that structure that everyone's familiar with leading into, you know, Ryan Cohen forming his position and then the run up to the all-time high. But like that's kind of what I want to make a video on, because there are VWAPs off of those two lows, the resistance and support lines off of those back tests, and then the behavior of the chart off of the new all-time high and the resistance line off of that, then when it got flipped into support, and then when it got back tested, and then, you know, just the repeating of that. And then again, as we made another high off of that last year, and then again that repeating behavior, the behavior of we've got a new resistance line, got to flip that into support, and then go back and back test it. And what I find just really interesting about all that is that now we've got 3 points to work with where we have a repeating pattern of behavior, where we have significant highs, significant lows, and just kind of a repeating, you know, like when I say fractal, like I just mean like a repeating pattern.
Yeah.
Like I think some people read into fractals too much, where they're like, oh, this bar pattern is going to repeat identically. Like it's more like just in terms of like the overall structure of something. Like price is fractal in that it is a repeating overall structure.
I was gonna make a U copy joke, but you know.
Right, yeah. like there are a lot of folks out there who will read into bar patterns and fractals to the point where it is like frankly toxic. And,
yeah.
I mean, like price is fractal in a way by nature, but especially on a stock like GameStop, where it's really been on some sort of swap cadence that you can pretty much identify for at least a year, if not longer.
Yeah.
And I think I like that you went back further, Paulie, because I think there are spans well before 2020 that are really relevant to right now. But like in this case, I mean, you've got so many new players in GameStop, large players, by the way. It's not, I don't think Roaring Kitty bought the bonds. You know, like I'm not off that tin. But like
though.
it's now you're going to have hedge funds or institutions going against one another because, okay, let's say there's a swap due around OPEX for July. Well, what if the arbitrage traders want IV cranked before then? And this call wall at 25 now is going to be rocket fuel. I mean, like there's like, now it's going to be harder, I think, to be like, okay, here's when we're running. I think it's like totally a crapshoot now. And I love it. I think it's the best possible way for these hedge funds to turn against one another. And I think the only route to survive is to go long on this stock. And I think that's what you're going to see. I don't know if it's going to be in the next month, but I think over the next, let's say into the fall, if you will, I think that's where we're going to see filings come out, institutions buying big lots. And I think at that point, with price sort of being fractal in nature off this swap cadence, I think that's when you could really see something that all these people complaining about, oh, Ryan Cohen's not doing anything, and then, the stock is brutal, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I think that's when they're going to have some serious FOMO.
Yeah, absolutely. And like the nature of price being fractal really comes down to just the fact that like there are only so many patterns. And I think I kind of made this joke in the Discord earlier this week. Like it's almost like we are in the Matrix, and every day someone just decides like, okay, which program are we going to load for GameStop today? Because there's only a list of so many, and like you're going to see one of like 7 or 8 different patterns load in the chart for the day. And if you had insight into which one you were going to see for the day, you could make a whole lot of money. But if you just zoom out on the chart and you just like scroll back and forth, like you will see the same thing over and over and over.
You'll see May 2024 various places.
Yeah, if you just change your time frame reference, and so like whether you're looking at the 1 minute, the 5 minute, the 1 day, like the same shapes and structures just appear constantly all over the chart. And so that's what I mean by price is fractal. It's just that the same patterns appear over and over and over again. And that isn't like unique to GameStop. That's really just the nature of how the stock market works, and it's a derivative of Elliott wave theory and a bunch of other things. But it does also come back to the fact that GameStop and a number of other instruments are deeply affected by swaps and a number of other things, and because of that, you start to see these types of patterns just manifest themselves a lot more frequently. So, I think that's just kind of an interesting thing about this chart. And so it starts to become like this, like repeating bull flag, kind of within itself. And sometimes you just have to ask yourself like, okay, how much can this thing compress itself before it just becomes a black hole? And, just like, where's the event horizon,
Yeah. Start raising cash flow. That's it. I think that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's really what it comes down to is that, I think kind of what we were talking about earlier, a lot of people just are not very patient, and they may have their reasons, but Ryan Cohen's working with what he can control. And right now, his best defense against shorts is to stockpile cash. And that's not like a sexy defense, right? But he can do that very publicly, while he can do other things that are going to absolutely destroy market sentiment on the bear thesis. And he can do that behind the scenes. And so that all takes time, and we've talked about it in prior shows, and I think Bad Robot especially did a really good job articulating just how difficult it was to take GameStop out of the really death spiral that it was in before Ryan Cohen got involved in the board. You know, the squeeze happening when it did was pivotal to that, but operationally things had to change. And I mean, GameStop's in a really great position today, but that didn't happen by accident.
Hell no. And yeah, that was good. And he's, I don't know, it's like every 3 months we find ourselves in an even better position. Ever since April last year, it's just been upward and bigger and better for us. So, all right.
Yeah. And whether that's reflected in the market price or not, like, it really is just a matter of time and pressure. So kind of like what we've talked about before, like if you are a long-term investor, then why do you care if the price is reflected today? Like, thank them for the opportunity and buy more.
That's the biggest challenge right now, is that if you're going 100% off TA and you're waiting for that second cat ear formation to hit, and let's say it's at $37 to $40, and let's say it happens soon, just a hypothetical, I think you're going to have people that are so tired of waiting, they're going to try and trade that. Mm-hmm. And I'm just trying to read tea leaves here, because like that's the sentiment that I'm getting, is like, oh, why didn't I sell my lot at 37 and buy back in at 21.67? And it's like, well, you're not a machine algorithm, number one.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like you're a human.
Right.
Number two, I think Paulie kind of touched on this, but it's like we're entering a territory now, or if it's Fitzy, like where the cash floor is rising, the company is safer, and at any point now, there's so many different players involved with this stock that you might not get that second cat ears. Like, what if you don't get that, and you sell out at $37.50, and then Ryan Cohen doesn't offer preferred shares, or he doesn't do another bond offering, and then this thing goes to 50? Yeah. How are you going to feel then? Like, and that I think is the struggle now, where I think this is one of the, in a way, the least predictable stocks, even though we're saying it clearly is on some sort of cadence, but we're now entering that, I think, kind of uncharted waters territory where it's going to get a little bit different. And Paulie, you mentioned, you know, if you're a long-term holder, you don't have to sweat this stuff. And that, I think, is probably the best philosophy to have with it, because if you do want to trade it and you do want to stack your shares up, I admire that, but it has to come with some degree of acknowledgement that you might get burned. Or if you start selling weekly covered calls, I mean, and you're thinking, okay, this upcoming week looks light on the chain, I'm going to sell freaking all mine at 25 or 25.50, whatever. You get premium on that, and then you get your shares called away and you miss a gigantic run. Like, that's going to suck equally. Right. So, and this is not Ryan Cohen's fault. Certainly it's not Roaring Kitty's fault. And it comes down to the individual about do what's best for you, your family, friends, your situation, but it's not Ryan Cohen's fault. I think in fact, Paulie, you know what's interesting too about this whole price being fractal thing? I think when he did the Bitcoin announcement, I'm convinced that he knew it was going to dump no matter what.
Oh yeah.
And dump on big volume. I think he almost did it as kind of a watch this, watch it dump, you know, and
watch how manipulated we are.
Correct. And not
we'll be the only company in the entire market to announce that we're buying Bitcoin and drop.
Right. And not for some utopian La La Land Rico case, but to say, I know this algorithm and I'm going to beat you at your own game, and I'm going to do it anyway and have a good laugh about it. And I don't think people are trusting enough in that, where if you just zoom out a little bit, Ryan Cohen built Chewy, which is one of the best online businesses next to Amazon. It's obviously more of a niche, but it's still consumer facing web only. That's tremendous. just trust that he's going to be doing something similar here, and it's not going to happen overnight. But he's also a brilliant investor in his own accord. He really was the reason, part of the reason, big reason why GameStop even squeezed in January of 2021. Let's not forget that.
Right.
And
Probably
his buys
the main reason.
ever since that point have been 100% perfectly timed. So like, just take that and be patient and say, okay, that's fine with me. And if you want to sell covered calls and you want to try and time the top and the bottom, that's fine. I'm just saying, in my personal struggle, I think that it's also a very dangerous recipe that can also have consequences. Just as if sitting there and waiting and then watching another dilution, that could happen too, and you'll be pissed again.
Yeah, no, you don't. You're gonna get. Nobody knows, and as soon as we feel like we know, that's when you're gonna have it wrong. And somebody did time the bottom better than RC did on this most recent buy. Our guy Larry Chang by 1 cent.
Yep, the OG.
The OG who's back on X, by the way.
Who just got his X. Yeah. Shout out to Larry.
Yeah. And someday he's gonna unblock us all. And
hopefully. I mean, I like that.
I'm not blocked. I thought I was actually laughing that you guys were like unblocked me. I was thinking I'm not blocked.
We jumped into the fire when he got hacked.
Oh, okay.
I made a joke. I made a joke saying that I bought the shit coin, and that got me blocked. And then Paulie got blocked for saying this is a scam. Yeah. And then now we're just begging
because I knew that it was a hacker, and I was like, guys, don't fall for this. And then the hacker hid my comment and blocked me.
I was like, YOLO, let's get it. All right, so Reese has a bit of an out here. He's got to get out here in a little bit because life calls. So we'll kind of move on. I'll just suggest that go read that bond conversion window post that I put up and then that Paulie overtook with a way more detailed and better explanation. But it was fun. It was, the gist of it is that starting tomorrow, if GameStop needs to close over $38.81, and then it would need to stay above that number at close every day for 20 trading days for the bonds to be converted early. And this is the Project Rocket bonds. If it closes,
in order for those bondholders to have the conversion privilege in the third quarter. And this is GameStop's fiscal quarter, because people had questions about that. So.
They had questions about all of it.
I
did.
Yeah,
what do you think the likelihood of that happening is?
Without some sort of major catalyst in the next 36 hours, that near zero. So.
Yeah, and even then, like 20 days up above $38, like But I could totally see, because I mean I don't want it to convert. In my opinion, I'd rather keep this cash without issuing more shares right now. I think that's kind of
and I think that's what GameStop would prefer too.
Yeah. So we don't want that.
They don't necessarily want conversion right away, and I don't think that the bondholders do either, unless GameStop is on a trajectory to really sustain that movement. So
move.
So yeah,
I mean, if you got a loan at 0.0 and you could collect interest on that loan, I mean, you probably wouldn't want that either, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
for
and
sure.
Again, it's not that I don't want it to happen, but that's the stuff I would say to caution people now. Be like, oh my God, they're going to convert and then we're going to find out it was Roaring Kitty that bought them. I would just say, I'm down for the 10, but I think set a more realistic expectation with it. That's all.
Yeah, that would be fun. That'd be crazy though. All of a sudden, I don't even want to go down that road. Reese, no.
Although I will say, not to derail this completely, but I am itching for 10. But Roaring Kitty unfollowing Ryan Cohen somewhat recently, is interesting.
It is.
And that's the stuff that I'll spend time thinking about and looking if there were past instances of it and why that might be and such and so. So that I can get into, but not hey, I think he walked into his local TD branch and bought $2.5 billion worth of GameStop bonds. That I'm not really sure about.
No. I went down that route at first. I mean, at least we don't think it's Sultan, right? Like that was that was the other one. Everyone's just, oh, it's fucking Sultan bought them all. Oh god.
I wish, man, that would be freaking epic. And if he did, I would love to eat crow on that. That'd be the best day ever.
Oh yeah, he's now Sultan.com or some shit. So I don't know if I trust that account. But anyways, all right. So I mean,
So for what it's worth, I went back and looked at the first quarter, and when Ryan Cohen bought on April 3rd, that was actually 20 days before the end of the first quarter. So there were 20 bars. There were 20 trading days after that in the first quarter, is what it looks like. So GameStop went on a 32% run to end the quarter after that. And I only mention that just because like there was no possibility of dilution from the bond at that point. And there was a lockout period and everything, so like none of this even mattered. Like the last 20 days of that quarter did not matter at all. But there were like exactly 20 trading days after his last purchase in that quarter, and GameStop ran 32% to end the quarter. So it's just kind of interesting that was the point where that was where the double bottom happened in terms of where the quarter was, because that bond offering happened later in the quarter than this one did.
He knows that chart. He knows GameStop's chart intimately. Him and Kitty.
He sure does.
Yeah,
I mean, it is possible we could even get a double bottom though off this offering.
Yeah,
and just happen like let's say July 18th.
It hasn't happened yet.
Like
it's the one thing,
and maybe like it would be just running twice as slow as the first offer. I'm not saying I'm a bear now.
No,
you guys don't not. I'm just saying like, okay, maybe that's happening. We don't know.
A double bottom would be bullish.
Yeah, so. it's what I'm kind of. I mean, until we either get into that gap or double bottom, we're in like limbo.
Honestly, best case scenario would be a double bottom July OPEX, and then Ryan Cohen literally freaking buys another 9 million shares, sells his full Apple stake. I mean, now now I'm smoking tin, literally.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna have to take my rocks away. Yeah, but like he could literally force the bond conversion at that point. But if you wanted to, do I think that's going to happen? No. I'm just saying like now we're in kind of like these uncharted waters where okay, maybe it is running slower. Maybe we're going to pop this week, fill most of that gap, and then come back down for a double bottom. Everyone's going to get upset up again, and then Ryan Cohen's going to buy big.
That's that run up to 25.50-ish, then drop back
give me
down
more
to
than
21.50.
Give me more than give me a pre-market 32.37.
Yeah, that would be dope.
Come on.
Shit. We might if I'm going to put a date on when I think we might hit our top, I would say August 27th. August 27th. That would be OPEC.
And what are we saying top though? Are you saying like top cattier and then dump?
Yeah,
or like,
not dump, but just,
okay.
This top for the cycle, like how we got 35.50 or whatever in May. I think August OPEC settlement week would be right around our next high. So 38, maybe to 40, somewhere in that range. And then bond offering in September, $5 billion, floors up.
That seems like a consensus at this point.
Yeah, that's what I mean, shit, why not?
I mean, even it could be preferred shares though too, but something.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Always be prepared.
Yeah, no. There's something coming unless he says no bond or no offering, which is what happened in December.
Well, which is interesting because he did do that.
Yeah,
they did telegraph that in December of 24.
Yeah, and it was the only time we didn't
any
get
more
one.
dilution.
Yeah.
And then they let it run for a little bit, and then you can see who slammed it. This is the perfect thing. Who slammed it down after January 9th, and why did they do it? Nothing was different about the company. There was no bad news, no press, none of this. I think it was, again, Ryan Cohen signaling this thing's going to dump regardless. Doesn't matter. And it's not enough volume to do a bond offering.
Yeah. Or they assassinated.
I mean, it's not like it dumped down on 120 million shares. He would have done an offering.
Yeah. I don't know.
It was literally like 12
high,
million
bro.
shares, if I remember. It was like the smallest volume, and it was like a 30% dump Rooney.
Our 0109 show is like 5 times the most downloaded show we have too. I went and looked. Like we were so hyped, man. Oh, that was
It's too funny.
Yeah, it is kind of funny. So, all right. Sorry.
Yeah. By the way, Game Strategy Stop needs only one more download to get 471.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's anything
Love
with the
that
word
number.
strategy. Anything with the word strategy kills. So, all right, I think
You should private the episode after that hits, and then just
be
keep
done.
it there.
Insider buy Jim Grube. Did I say that right? Yeah, he bought.
Yeah, Jim Group.
He bought on the 30th. That's nice. We got.
Which was I think 3 years to the day after Ryan Cohen had made that comment about how insiders should buy with their own money. Which I think, Reese, were you one that made note that this was the first time that Jim had actually made a purchase with his own money?
I don't remember, but because he had just gotten comp before, right?
Yeah, because he had actually been given grants on 4 previous occasions.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember if it was you that had mentioned it on X, but I saw that someone.
I don't think it was me. I just said that he bought.
Yeah, so I saw
like
that someone
insiders
had
buy, so
commented that it was actually his first purchase, and I was like, well, that seems odd. And so I went and actually checked, and I went back and looked at all of his previous filings, and I was like, well, wow, yeah, it actually was. So all of his previous Form 4, all of his previous insider acquisitions were grants, and he did have a sale at one point in June of 2021. But so in February 2021, June of 2021, he had grants of stock, and then in June of 2021 he had a sale, and then he had 2 more grants in June of 2022 and 23. And so this one was the first time that he's actually bought shares with his own money. So that feels
that's great.
And he did it on the anniversary of Ryan Cohen making the comment that boards should be comprised of directors who purchase shares with their own money.
I like that.
I feel like people are wanting Nat Turner to buy 10x more than any other name. And I'm not saying Nat's more important. I'm just reading the sentiment. If it was like a sentiment meter, it would be like 100% skewed toward wanting Nat Turner to buy. And there's also this like elitism about how many shares an insider buys.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, I think Larry bought like 4,000 last summer in 2024. It was like July or something, and no one cared. It's like that's not enough. So I guess there's like the jury has to decide that Nat Turner needs to come in swinging with freaking 300,000 shares, or we're all gonna just write him off.
Well, I mean, it's been a year in October, right? I think since he got put on the board. He's got, I think, is it 5 years?
November. He has 5 years to maintain a position worth at least $275,000.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's
had
more
opportunities.
Yeah,
I'm not
for sure
saying he needs to do it now. I'm just commenting. I think there's been a couple good buy opportunities.
I think we'd all like to see it, and I think maybe it has to do with whatever's going on with their partnership. Did you see that video he put out? Yeah, like there's a video.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, they're talking about how and maybe I'll add it to the show because it was pretty interesting.
A couple other questions for you, and they're both along the lines of like the hot topics, so we'll cover them both at the same time. So there's been, whether it be you're on X or you're on IG or Facebook or at card shows, a lot of rumors going around about GameStop and SGC. So the GameStop rumor is, hey, is Nat selling? Is he retiring? Is he moving, to Jamaica or Aruba? Yeah. He's giving up on cards. He's getting out of PMGs. And on the SGC side, there's still, Nat, there's a lot of loyalists. And even though they might like PSA, they absolutely love SGC. And whether it be because turnaround times have albeit been a little bit slower, or someone decided one night just to start a rumor, those are at least the two, big rumor mill things that I've been hearing. And I was curious if you could address those for the folks that are watching.
Yeah, no, we're not selling to GameStop. That's a funny rumor. I mean, I think the GameStop community, like since I joined the board, the Twitter, X, whatever, the community, the GameStop community, has figured out the connection, that I have in
Sure.
PSA. And I think it's actually funny because, they come up with these theories and like some of they're like, oh, if you put together these words and change the order of the letters, it's like, they
I've seen some crazy stuff. Like, did you know if you stand this way at the sun,
Right.
actually Nat's working already for GameStop?
No, it's the conspiracy theories are funny. But we have a very close partnership with GameStop. They're one of our dealers. You can walk into most GameStops and submit cards and they'll get them graded with PSA. And it's been a really fun way to introduce grading to trading card collectors, mostly trading card game collectors, TCG. And yeah, that's really it. I mean, we've got some really cool stuff in the works with them that are, again, in the vein of partnership, but that's it.
It was a great interview.
Yeah, it was good. So I'll put some of that in there. All right, tinfoil quick because we gotta get to Reese's Pieces. Are you you got a couple minutes or do you gotta go right now, Reese?
Yeah, I got a couple.
Okay,
like 10 or less.
10 or
Okay.
less. All right, we'll
Cool.
get there. So
We
Buck,
appreciate it.
yeah, thank you, dude. Buck Moon is July 10th, I think is what it was. So just tinfoil at the end. There's the Buck
This coming
Moon
Thursday.
is this coming Thursday. There's that banner on GameStop's website of ET and then Buck on a rocket ship in the middle of the moon. So,
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah, if you go to GameStop.com right now on desktop, and then you go to the second image on their slider, it is that right now.
Yeah, so fuck.
I mean, I feel like because you said it's happening Thursday night, I have to point out Max Payne for Friday's 2350.
I feel like it's been.
And I'm not doing that to be Buzz Killington. It's so hilarious. The Max Payne, dude, it's so funny.
It lives,
and
there.
I would love it to be absolutely decimated. I really would.
Oh yeah,
And it just says pre-owned phone home.
yeah, and it's ET touching a controller, and Buck is on a rocket in the middle of the moon. Come on,
Yeah.
They're just
yeah. Buck,
I mean, just
Buck
give
on
us a better
rocket
cycle than
on
last
a
July.
full moon, and it's the week of the Buck Moon.
It was like $30 the top last July, I think, something like close to it. Or it might not have been 30.
Yeah, it was right around there,
did
like
have that
$29.99 or some
third
shit.
run.
Yeah.
So I would just say if we're getting a true Buck Moon ain't $29.99.
No.
I mean, that is got. I feel like there has to be a level of like, okay, Buck Moon, we got a cat ears at least $35 to be like a true. Okay, we Buck Mooned.
Nice. All right, so we'll move on. We're gonna get Reese's Pieces in here. We got because I got cool sounders I like to add to this show. So
This one's important.
yes, exactly. So we got a couple questions. So I think we'll start with the original, which is Sky Brockmeiler.
Big pieces, little pieces, masterpieces, Reese's Pieces, head pieces, neck pieces, hair pieces, Reese's Pieces, eye pieces, nose pieces, Reese's Pieces, 3 pieces, 2 pieces, 1 pieces, Reese's Pieces, dime pieces, center pieces, mantle pieces, Reese's Pieces, chest pieces, gold pieces, silver pieces, Reese's Pieces, the famous flavor of Reese's peanut butter in a fun candy shell. You'll love them to pieces.
On the first episode of Reese's Pieces, he wanted to know if he could be unblocked. You said you would think about it, and you needed some more green bars in the meantime. So the question is a run to 35 in May enough to get Sky unblocked?
Okay, I'll cut a deal with them if we're gonna up the cost though. It just got $2 higher. We're gonna go 37.
37.
All right.
At $37.
And I count pre-market extended. The only thing I feel like we can't count freaking scam hours overnight though.
That's
Okay.
fair.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Because that thing is a disaster. They need to shut that down. Man.
Yeah.
That's a disaster.
Is there a time limit on this, Reese?
Well, since we never get a July cycle, right? Let's put it at August 1. And there's someone I trust trading wise very dearly who's heavily established that I know, and this is not, I'm just stating what I know that they positioned, but they positioned for mid-August, I believe.
Ooh, okay.
And so I'm only saying July because I would love to see a weird July cycle. I would love to see the can
It would be
kicking
nice.
stop and just say, well, no one expected it. Everyone turned bearish and boom, you got 40 plus. Do I think it's going to happen? No, but I'd love to see it happen. I think we'll see a little something this week.
Nice. I would love it. That's good. So 37.
And
by
honestly, I
August
just
1.
have to say, I hope anyone selling covered calls and, trying to stack up the position. I just love when that strategy stops working. I really do.
Oh, it's my favorite.
It's not because I don't think that's smart. I like do what you need to do, but it's just people that think that this stock is predictable and that they're going to call every move and, sell dangerous strikes. I wouldn't hate to see it, wouldn't hate to see that happen.
Yeah. So basically, if we get GameStop to 37 by the end of the fiscal quarter, then you will unblock Sky.
Yeah,
we got to get the exact date on that. Probably let's just say the end of July. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that August 1st is the last trading day of the fiscal quarter.
Lock it in.
Yeah.
All right,
lock it in, Sky.
All right. I think he's got a shot at it. Okay, good stuff. D-Swag.
There you go, Sky.
Yeah, there you go, Sky. I think you got it, bro. This is gonna be the time.
So you're saying there's?
I'm gonna say on Unusual Whales Monday morning. There's gonna be 20,000 call block out of the money calls, and it's gonna be Sky trying to pump this thing himself.
He'd be my hero. Does Swag? He didn't have anything.
When you make a great tasting candy, word gets around.
You want Reese's Pieces, do you?
Ah, Reese's Pieces. Who in the world was that?
I don't know. Kind of looked like your cousin Willie.
Reese's Pieces with the great peanut butter taste that's out of this world.
Honestly, I've been waiting for this moment just so he could hear what you sound like, Reese. So you want to say hi to D-Swag?
Dude, click I'm on the internet, dude. Like if you want to see what I look like, and I used to get people in the comment, AI generated. Dude, click the literally. I don't have like a link in bio. I'm not promoting OF or anything. Obviously, not that down bad yet. Ryan Cohen hasn't screwed us that bad. You can literally see if you click the link, dude. I have like an old YouTube channel. I used to do like politics stuff. I don't do that anymore. You can literally see and hear. So just saying, man.
Yeah.
Do a little DD. See that we lost all the good DD, man. And all the good hype date people recently. Shout out to Butt Farm 69. And now people can't even, they're not even doing their own DD.
No, well, and there's an episode where you were on with us just a couple months ago too. So yeah. But hey,
I think
cool.
Pauly is like the sharpest tin you can get in terms of numbers.
Oh, it's awesome.
Historical tin too. And we got to keep that going, and not for people to YOLO into weeklies ever, but just for like someone needs to be logging all of these things. Like that's why I liked Butt Farm, because like he was going through memes from like 4 years ago and like equating them to like now, and I'm like, dude, that's crazy. I miss him. I hope
I miss him. Butt Farm's OG. Only above many things, but he created.
Dude, I think he was right too. By the way, I think he was right about his latest run up. So I think he deserves some credit for that. I really do.
Yeah. And the dancing chairman, my favorite emoji ever. All right, cool. And then real quickly, Magnificent.
Reese's Pieces. Reese's Pieces. Well, imagine your surprise when you realize,
wow, some difference.
Reese's peanut butter flavors inside.
Reese's Pieces. Reese's Pieces. They look familiar, but inside this candy shell is Reese's peanut butter flavor. Reese's Pieces.
Well, imagine your surprise when you realize,
wow,
Reese's peanut butter flavors inside.
Reese's Pieces. Wow.
He wants to know what catalysts we're eyeing. We can get into that a lot, but not right now because you got to go. But do you have any?
I'll just say this. I'll answer that question though. It's. I wouldn't even call it a catalyst. It's literally when they stop kicking the can. And I think the rules and such for settlement now are very ambiguous, and any securities lawyers that they have working for these giant firms where they've just perpetually kicked the can, they know it better than we do, unfortunately. And eventually it will stop. When is it going to happen? I don't know. That's the catalyst, though, is when one of these firms decides, okay, we're paying up this week. We've got cash in our account. It's an automatic buy. Like that, to me, is where we're at. The other catalyst is we see the next FTD report drop, and we see more big fails. And we see GMEU stay on reg show. We see XRT go back on reg show in tandem with GMEU being on reg show. Then you want to start calling hype dates. Then you can start looking at 33 trading days. Then you can start looking at how long do they keep these vehicles on reg show and what vehicle do they turn to when it's off reg show. Then look at the next ETFs that they'll fail. That's when you're going to see 2020, late stages of 2020 again. When you can see that the pressure cookers come, it's too much pressure, and it's going to be easier for them to pay, because this all costs money. By the way, you can't just keep doing this. You can't kick the can for $0. They're paying. Someone is paying to be doing this.
Yeah, it'll come true at some point. It's a matter of when.
I mean, best catalyst in the world would be Roaring Kitty comes out with a freaking filing, but like, let's just be more realistic and say maybe he's playing something else right now, and he'll come in with big stacks when the moment he feels is much better suited for someone to stop kicking the can. That's my opinion.
GME on reg show would fucking rocket that shit too.
Dude, I would. I mean, the things I would do if I saw that, man.
Yeah. Oh, FOMO would be out of control, by the way.
Oh, it would be you would see all these shills come out of the woodwork. Yeah. All these FTD dorks. Oh, there's not rolling fails. They cleared out the F. I think Sky was even chirping me about that. It might have been. He might not actually be getting them banned now.
Shit. We went too long.
When I was talking about this, I used to say the fails, they're not. Oh, no. It's a guy. I'm not going to mention it. Sorry, Sky, to slander you like that. I owe you an apology. It was this guy that does a lot of options breakdowns on X. And in the early days, he would comment back to me, they closed out those fails, right? Anyone telling you that should not be trusted, period. Muted that guy from then on out. If you believe that, man, you shouldn't even be in the markets, really. And that's not financial advice. That's just, you got to pick up a book, read the literature, and it'll make perfect sense to you.
Do your own research.
Nice. All right. And then lastly, Architect wants to know why you suck so much.
Oh my. Well,
you don't even answer it, because that's a bullshit question.
It's either Sky on an alt account, or Chuck is jealous now that he can't do the show. Or if
I should warn you, this was an account that I already had muted.
Well, I love it. I mean, I think we've all been at various stages of ReesePolitics sucks, and it's just, he might be in that like anger and grief stage, and next thing you know he's going to be riding the coattails. So it's really kind of full circle. Look at Brock. I mean, he came after me. Now he's begging to be unblocked.
Yeah.
So it's really a full circle moment, I think, for all of us. What's this guy's name? Architect?
Architect 89 with the underscore after. Yeah,
that's either Ken Griffin or one of those. There's just no way. There's just no way.
If you just see the first post on his page, things start making more sense. Either way, he's blocked or muted for a reason, and I'm gonna mute him now too, just because I don't like the way he talked.
I'm gonna keep him unblocked and unmuted just
because
right. I just want to see him chirping.
Right.
There you go. He's gonna have to earn it.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then I'll quick announcements. I want to welcome Ehad King and Taxed Out to the Echo Chamber Discord. Glad you guys are here. It's an awesome place. Everyone who's on this show is a member of the Discord too. So come say hi to us there. Come say hi to me on X. Come say hi to all of us on X. We all enjoy it. I'd much rather positive interaction than the shitty stuff I've been getting lately. So come say hi. Tell us you checked out the show. If you're interested in joining the Echo Chamber Discord, shoot me a DM and we could talk about it. It's not automatic entry, but if you're a GME bull, we want you in there. So hit me up. All right. Yeah, I think you got anything else, Pauly?
I think someone asked us if we had any crazy fireworks stories.
Oh yeah, I know, but he's got to get out of here.
I know.
I will say that I tried to. I almost blew my ear off with my buddy TJ when I was like 18. We were jumping off the roof onto a trampoline and then into a pool, while lighting fireworks, and one blew off in my hand, and I was deaf for like 2 days. I was really
that honestly sounds like a Jackass skit.
Yeah, well, I think that's about the time. So, did you have one, Polly, that you blew up? Did anything crazy real quick? Or
my wife had to remind me of it, but I mean, I obviously remember the fact that I have used our flamethrower as a remote starter for fireworks. I've done that on multiple occasions, but there was one time when we were living at our old house and we would light fireworks in the street, and I was using the flamethrower to light fireworks, and the flamethrower actually burned a hole in the side of one of the fireworks, and I think it was a mortar.
Oh shit!
And so the fireworks shot out the side instead of the top, and so yeah, that wasn't great. But no one got hurt, but that one didn't go as planned, we'll say.
Yeah, I used to get stupid with fire and everything when I was in high school. Reese, you got anything you want to add before we get out of here? Any fireworks story you want to throw out there?
I'm not going to self-incriminate, but I will say one other unrelated thing. Just, I hate to be cliche, but time and pressure for this thing. And
it's everything.
I mean, just if you think of anything else, just think of one thing is Ryan Cohen takes $0 salary. He's a self-made businessman that built a great company before he joined and got on board with GameStop. So like it sucks. And yeah, we have to wait through the up and downs and but this I think is really something special is happening here. And just because a couple people have lost faith and gotten bored and this, that, and the other, they see spy flying, etc. Don't get distracted, and stay vigilant. Make sure you're reading things, you're researching things, you're paying attention to what's happening. Just because things can change quickly, and you gotta be cautious, especially when I think some bad actors come in and start saying some things. So just be cautious and be patient and enjoy the ride.
Sweet. All right.
Love it.
Thanks for coming on with us, Reese. I'm really glad we'll have to get you on again soon. Thanks, Polly. Appreciate it. Coming out on a Saturday night. Echo, Chuck, just shout out. We miss you guys. Come back.
Shout out, Chuck, man. I miss him. I miss him so much.
Us too.
Yeah. He's got an open invite, and he has the link. So one day he's just going to show up, and it's going to be glorious. But all right, everyone. Thanks for checking out the show. We'll see you next week. All right, bye.
Thank you.
Say bye, Reese.
Oh, see you guys. Dude, I dozed off there. Totally.
Sweet.
I was looking at the chart. I just fell asleep.
We're good. Nice job.
Yeah. Thanks for coming back, man.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Great to jam out.
And let Sky know. Someone in the Discord, let Sky know. And we'll see. Maybe as early as this
he'll
week.
know.
Yeah, he's gonna download this thing. So
he'll be download number 1.
Yeah, he'll definitely.
Yeah, he might actually beat Bobby this time.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Fucking Bobby.
How can I love you?